Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's iteration of What's Hot and New in the Music Industry with a pinch of psychology, because don't we all love overthinking things? This is the Muckcast, a cozy listen to pair with your coffee. I'm Hannah. I'm a writer on Medium and a therapist in day-to-day life, and I write about everything from psychology to music and life abroad. My new book, Facing Away, is going to be coming out tomorrow, and this bitch is guilty of not finishing her editing. Here on the podcast, I read my stories aloud with a few reflections and insights along the way, so grab your mug, settle in, and let's get into today's episode. First of all, I'm fully aware this is not a mug. This is me being pretentious because, let's be honest, this is more water than I've had in the entirety of today, which is the reason that I had headache medication right before I started this podcast. At least I'm being honest, guys, okay? But stay hydrated is the message that I'm trying to send. Anyway, to everyone who left a comment under my last video, I'm so grateful. Thank you so much to all of you. It's so exciting to read other people's reflections on these topics and to just hear something when you're screaming out into the void of the internet. And for that reason, I would like to ask you a beginning question, because do you see that shit? I think I'm growing horns, like there. And these horns are making me believe that I should cut my bangs. But I'm also fully aware that I'm PMSing a little bit, so I might just be in that phase where I really should not cut my bangs, but I feel like cutting my bangs. So I would be so excited if you could be telling me whether to cut my bangs, because we're outsourcing our micro decisions these days. And I find this looks kind of funky, doesn't it? I'm not sure. Are they too long? The purpose of this video are the new drops of this week and last week, just to get us all on the same page. Obviously, everybody's talking about Olivia Rodrigo and Drop Dead and The Cure at the moment, but I think everybody's talking about kind of the wrong thing. Another thing that's hot and new this week is Ariana Grande's new music video for Hate That I Made You Love Me, which was written and co-produced by Max Martin. And besides that, Lizzo also came out with her new album, Bitch, which I think hasn't gotten enough attention. If you haven't gone and listened to Lizzo's new album, Bitch, do it right now. This is me being a therapist. Wait, let me whip out my glasses. This is my prescription to you guys. Listen to Lizzo, okay? That woman did a good job. Let's celebrate. Anyway, why did I do that? I hope my editing me has the strength to leave that in. The main thing I want to talk about today is actually related to the music video specifically. If you want to follow along, I'll post below the link to this article that I'm reading. Thank you, computer. This article is called, okay, I'm not capable of this yet. I'm working on my skills, guys. Sorry. Bed Dreams Death, the Hidden Language of Women's Music Videos. Nightmares Dressed Like a Daydream Take Heterofatalism to Bed. So this is the article I'm going to be reading today. It literally just came out. I will take on my glasses, because yes, I prepared these glasses to look pretentiously clever when I'll tell you the truth. I'm short-sighted, so it makes no fucking sense for me to be wearing them when I read this. But I'm a pretentious bitch, and B, I'm trying to mimic Ariana Grande down there. I'm trying to look like her. Can you see it? She wears glasses. I wear glasses. Here. Please tell me you're seeing it. I tried so hard. Anyway, why am I trying so hard, guys? It's so annoying to be a woman and have high standards. I mean, okay, forget it. Okay, let's get started on today's read. The bed is a safe space to rest your head, the home of hopes and dreams, and everything that lies in between. The sheets have always been thin between the good and the bad when it comes to our beds. This very ambiguity makes them the intriguing center of dreamscapes, dirty jokes, and slumber parties alike. And it seems that recently, female pop stars have made this dichotomy their favorite play of symbolism. The bed is what showgirls were in 2025. Do you remember the showgirls of 2025? There was Miley Cyrus' whole album around showgirls. There was literally The Life of a Showgirl, Taylor Swift. And they all seemed like they were playing a little bit of a Sabrina Carpenter showgirl ripoff thing, as Sabrina Carpenter was showgirling around the several occasions. I just feel like 2025 was the year of the showgirl. The bed is what showgirls were in 2025, a mirror that artists use to evoke reflections and play at those things considered taboo. Taboo. That wasn't even funny. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry for everybody who's here for the first time. I'm really bad at jokes, and I'm really, really convinced that I can dad joke, and I don't know why. I really don't know why I do it. I can't explain it. It's just inside me. And these articles sometimes come off so deep, and they are deep. Just like any human, I have multiple sides. And the same woman who writes about the dichotomy of artistic expression can also make taboo. Okay? Let me be all sides of myself. Thank you. Sabrina Carpenter hopped on a bed as she cursed at men in Man-Child during her SNL performance. I love that SNL performance. Melanie Martinez recently uploaded the full listening party video of her new dystopian album Hades, which I love, which shows her rolling around in a bed. And Olivia Rodrigo, our favorite, put a bed into freaking Versailles of all places. And while everyone only notices her clothes for some fucked up reason, I felt more intrigued by the visual narrative of her environment. Much music has flown through the data centers of Spotify since Taylor Swift first wrote in her hit single Blank Space that she is, quote, a nightmare dressed like a daydream. This again seems like eons after the same woman, Taylor Swift, sang You Belong With Me in 2009 from her bedroom window. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go to the article. I have linked the original video from 2009 there. Despite having sweet memories with this song, You Belong With Me in particular, I cannot unsee that another iteration of the teenage bedroom narrative would kind of be out of place in 2026. So what is it that is so intriguing about beds in music these days? Why are women in 2026 so crucially aware of their dreams being crushed? I think the answer lies in the rapid proliferation of heterofatalism, women's delusionment with patriarchy, and the very human need for symbolism, especially in the arts. So in this article, or in this podcast, I will discuss both sides of the bed in music videos, the psychology behind it, and the culture that drives it. The psychology behind symbolism in music. The reason songwriters love their dreamscapes is more than just a convenient rhyme of head and bed. Beds are greatly emotional anchors between writers and their audience. And secondly, dreams are arguably one of the most intriguing and yet obscure places that humans can fantasize about. This is why bedrooms and dreams have always been a larger part of the discussion in music. Many people listen to music in their beds, so writing about sitting on your bed in your lyrics as an artist or a songwriter fosters an immediate connection with your audience. But somewhere between Taylor's success with You Belong With Me and Drop Dead by Olivia Rodrigo more recently, the female bedroom narrative became a little more spiky. A bed of roses, I guess, with the thorns firmly attached. On the tail of large abuse cases, the slow erosion of Pride Month, which many people are criticizing online at the moment, and in a world that has a tendency to get a little bit darker every single day, it is no surprise that musicians retreat to the bedroom to extract emotions from their listeners. It is a place where maybe more than ever, safety and horror meet inside the safety of imagination. The narrative of the monsters under our bed is indicative of how, even as children, the safety of the bedroom seems to be very fugitive. Humans have a natural tendency to sort difficult things into containers to make sense of the world, e.g. personality types. Simple black and white dichotomies are the most effective and oversimplified means of making sense of the world, and beds are home to many obscure dichotomies, especially for women these days. Light and dark, safe and deadly, home and horror, yin and yang, conscious and unconscious. I excuse myself for yin and yang. I wouldn't say that if I were speaking Chinese. Awake or dreaming. Last but not least, anima and animus. If you want to know about anima and animus, check out my previous episodes. I talk about that a lot, and I think it's a very important concept to know. As simple as this might sound, any poet will agree with me that dichotomies make creative writing flow, and our brains fizz in anticipation of chaos. The play with the simplicity of dichotomy to enhance the emotional landscape of one's writing is an essential tool in the creative writing toolbox for poets, lyricists, and authors alike. I guess Jung and Freud, psychoanalysis of the past, are surely stirring in their graves, ready to argue whether dreams are predatory communications of unfulfilled longings, which is Freudian, or the mythical whisperings of a shared subconscious across humans, Jungian approach. But one thing is for sure. The conscious and the subconscious meet in our dreams, which makes them an interesting vessel for artistry, especially in 2026. Now we get to heterofatalism in 2026 and how it writes the scripts of music videos. As I've already previously discussed, we are currently under a wave of hyperfemininity that comes with radical expressions of colors and freedom alongside maximalist aesthetics. The visual narrative is, we do what we want because we finally can. And after the Olivia Rodrigo debate on baby doll dresses, we see that even over 50 years after the miniskirt revolution in the 1960s, this can still be a challenge to the public perception, sadly. But the visuals surrounding the artists have become far spikier than merely their garments. In music videos, it has become an interesting choice among artists whether to kill a man in every video or talk to their younger selves in their bedrooms, warning you of said man. The tradition of killing a man in each video was started by Sabrina Carpenter in her revolutionary video for Feathers. And Ariana Grande just replicated it in her recent video for Hate That I Made You Love Me. And she really killed that man a lot, like many times over. The song is predicted to be the new summer hit, which is almost guaranteed with Max Martin as the co-writer and co-producer. Olivia Rodrigo is playing with these two choices as well, because at least since the drop of The Cure, her most recent video, it is evident that the bedroom is the setting for her whole album. Specifically, she mimics a young girl's bedroom with all of her old toys from The Castle and the Princess, which is the Versailles reference, to the doctor's play kit in the corner, which is referenced in The Cure. In this very music video, The Cure, she plays a nurse who tries to find a literal cure to stop her carton paper heart from dying in a carton paper world. It's all very carton paper. At the end of the video, she stomps on the DIY box that the music video is set in, which literally and physically crushes the illusion of ever finding a cure for her broken heart. Heterofatalism? Probably. Especially in an album called You Look Pretty Sad for a Girl So in Love. An album that she says on the New York Times podcast, which I highly recommend watching, started from writing love songs, which ended up becoming tragedies because there was just no other way. Both Ariana Grande and Olivia Rodrigo are dropping their new albums in June 2026, and each one has their own approach to heterofatalism, the death of a man or the death of the dream of love. This mirrors female disillusionment with the idea of the knight in shining armor, which kills not just the knight, but also the idea of the princess with it. Oh, the irony that right now, the Barbie franchise has released all its old movies on YouTube for free. Crazy. I wonder whether this is a desperate last cry of marketing or a sorry side eye from the very brand that injected plastic body shaming and rose-colored lenses into young girls' bedrooms for decades. Now we get to a more up-to-date topic, the war zone of obsessions in the bedroom. A recent stir on the internet is that, oddly, some netizens discovered there is a significant overlap between K-pop fans and women loving Formula One. Stick with me on this one. Yes, I mean the racing series, not some sort of beauty product. When looking deeper into the concept, it becomes evident that the franchise of Formula One was taken over by a new company in recent years, which shifted their marketing strategy from not showing any behind-the-scenes material to the drivers posting pre-race shorts on Instagram. And all of this gave the sort of context to the watcher that K-pop fans crave from their idols. In the past, Formula One was a boys' sport, just like all sports, and it was fully accepted that men scream and sometimes do crazy things at football games because men are just men. Thus, a boy with a Yuki Tsunoda poster over his bed is perfectly normal. Girls were not into sports at that time, but rather they were obsessed with music. In 2016, with the arrival of the Hallyu, or the Korean wave, Korean men's posters appeared over girls' bedrooms, and increasingly, girls started swooning over their idols. But when they did this, they were met with judgment and the word obsessed. As the K-pop fangirls grew up, they started also finding the same joy of analytical depth in Formula One, because it essentially fulfills the same criteria as a K-pop group. And now, stick with me. First of all, both K-pop and Formula One have a small sample of people with characters you can engage with very deeply because they have a lot of background lore. They basically tour around the globe, which becomes a seasonal sitcom. There are only 20 drivers, and they tour around the world and compete, And on top of the motorsport technicalities, which you can dive into, and its own lore, there is a whole world to dive into and literally fangirl about. Suddenly, many women had posters of Yuki Tsunoda above their beds. Somehow, women having Formula One posters in their bedrooms wasn't perceived as well. The newer fans, these female newer fans, are now called obsessed and delusional by older Formula One fans, which has led to the discussion of why women liking anything between K-pop and Formula One in sports is always considered obsessive, while men can show fundamentally aggressive behaviors and drinking at a football match, and society gives it a pass. It seems that our system is more judgmental towards women in their bedrooms, watching videos, leaving comments, and creating compilation videos, than a bunch of screaming men with beer cans on public transport, screaming chants and harassing other passengers. So though this Formula One obsession might at first glance seem disconnected from music videos featuring beds and killing man, it is a perfect example of how patriarchy has been directing what should and should not be part of a girl's bedroom, and thus dreamscape. Nurse kits, castle, and dresses are okay. Male artists, Formula One drivers, and feminism are not okay. Never mind that a Playboy magazine and naked women posters in male teenage bedrooms are merely worth a scoff. I firmly believe that women in a fandom are not more predatory than men doing the same thing. It is just that patriarchy has written the rules differently. It is safest to keep strict rules around girls' homes first, so that they may never emerge from their bedrooms and never seek out a concert or a Formula One race in person, because that is a great threat to the system that keeps women in their beds. How do we take patriarchy out of the bedroom? For Gen Z and millennial women, our bedrooms have oddly become not just the mental mirror of our subconscious, but also a war zone of societal conflicts. I was already raised by a mother who bought me jeans and yellow t-shirts as a baby so that I wouldn't be a girl dressed in pink. It lacks any irony that as soon as I entered kindergarten in the early 2000s, I fell in love with pink because all the other girls were wearing it. I was a wild tomboy who built tree houses in the forest behind our house with my neighboring boys. But I also had a Barbie house with custom lighting and flooring by my dad. And I never questioned that dichotomy until now. I sang Love the Way You Lie by Rihanna upon my first heartbreak, but luckily I also had the song I Can't Be Tamed, which shout out to all the Miley Cyrus girls out there. I had I Can't Be Tamed as a way to awaken my inner feminist sentiments. So what I'm trying to illustrate is this. We Gen Z and millennials grew up in a world of dichotomies of female experiences already, all around us in music and in private. It is no surprise that these days we're tasked to look back at our childhood and the spaces that held us in those days, and ask the question of what was there because of patriarchy, and what was there because it truly served a young girl's mind. And to draw the line between these two things is actually almost impossible because we've never lived under anything but patriarchy. Since the Code of Hammurabi in 1754 BCE, which is often quoted as the first written evidence of patriarchy, female roles were legally encoded, and the process of finding out what womanhood is beyond those rules is remarkably slow and unsteady. So I guess for now, all we can do is dream about an equal society, write it into our lyrics, and capture it in music videos. Sitting in my bedroom right now, with fairy lights literally in the back of me, I cross my fingers that what is coded in radical hyperfemininity at the moment will one day not be necessary anymore, because women are finally free to dream however they want. Until then, I'll keep listening to women killing men and dancing around their bedrooms, alongside those men who are ready to say farewell to patriarchy. One of these men that I love listening to is Daniel Seavey, and he has a new song called Love's a Gun, which is also linked in the article. And it's my personal wrap up for this podcast episode and my recommendation for you to listen to. If you want to see how men in music process the fact that they are currently often drafted up as prey. I love this song, Love's a Gun, because literally he's singing about how the girl is loading a gun to shoot him. So he's kind of flipping the script, and I really admire that. Yeah, that's it for this week's podcast episode. I think it's these types of thoughts that we have to keep mulling over as we deconstruct those narratives that we were given by default. I also think that it's worth it reading into what the artists are actually providing. It's more than just a little bit of music, a little bit of production. and a large marketing budget. The artists have their own things that they're trying to portray, and some of it is marketing, yes, but a lot of it is actually genuine thought. I do believe that even in 2026, any sort of artistry is like the megaphone for social debate. And that's why I'm trying to make this podcast, because I want to highlight what's underneath the music and stop talking about what people are wearing. And with that, I want to say thank you so much, everybody, for listening to this podcast. Thank you for coming back. And thank you for leaving any comments. Thank you for hitting like and subscribe. If you do choose to do that, I'm really, really happy. You can read more of my writing on Medium at Hannah's Cafe, or you can hop over to my Instagram, which is also Hannah's Cafe, or you can hop over to my threads where I'm being a little bit unhinged sometimes. I hope to see you soon over a nice cappuccino in another episode. Thank you so much. Hope to see you back at Hannah's Cafe. Bye bye.